Hey guys, it's Ed, Slow Car Fix. Um, I know some people called me Doug. I guess that's because my shop coat said Doug. Let me know in the comments. I might name the 55 Doug because of that. But anyways, um, today, just a quick little video. I've got some things on the go, so I don't have a whole lot of time, but I'm going to try and whip off a rocker panel to show you. I'm going to use my friend here, the English wheel, and I'm going to use some 16 gauge cold rolled profile gauge. I'm going to use I have an old rocker panel, section of a rocker panel that I'm using for a template for the radius. I have done this successfully on the driver's side of the 55 Chevy. Now I'm trying to whip one off for the passenger side for when I get into doing more of the two-door to four-door conversion stuff. I know it's been a while. I've been working on other projects. Please check out my other videos. I've been working on my first car, which was a 81 Malibu. It was the first car I ever owned. I did an LS swap on it. It's nearing completion. It's getting close to being done. I'm going to, over the holidays, it's just before Christmas now, a week before, I'm going to, over the holidays, do some work on my 64 C-Can coupe. I'll tell you the story of that in the other video. It's the short version is that it was in a storage container since 1982 and came out about a year ago. Needs a lot of work, but it's a pretty solid car. So I'll just show you what is going on with the 55 on the passenger side, and then we'll get right into it. Here is the 55. You've been asking for it. Here it is. You know what's happened to it? Nothing. Very little. So, yeah, I've got that panel that goes in this hole. I have this panel that also goes in that hole. And then I have to make a piece that goes in between. So you can see I've done it on the other side. Now what I haven't showed you guys, and I'm not going to show you right now, is that on the other side I've cut the panel because I had some oil canning. So I've cut the panel and I'm playing with that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. I'll cover that in another video. I'm going to have to fix some things that I don't like. I have time. I can be fussy. So I eventually have to install this panel. Goes halfway across the wheel well and comes down. And then what I did on the other side, you can see this brown piece is the same panel. And it comes in and I tied it in to this aftermarket piece. And there's the door. I have to align it and I'll have to, blend all that panel into this piece here. So one thing, I get a lot of crap in the comments on my first video that I posted with the 55. Now that was very early in my YouTube videos, and I feel I'm getting better with every one. I know the music was too much, and that's okay. Sorry about that. I'm getting better. The other thing is people give me crap because my title was converting a two-door or a four-door to a two-door without using a donor car. So I don't think I lied there, because what I was implying, and came off wrong, was that I'm not taking a restorable two-door car and cutting the quarter panels out of it to put in my ratty old four-door car. I bought doors that were not good enough for a guy's project. He thought they weren't great, so I've used them. I bought aftermarket quarter panel pieces. I'm making the rockers, and I'm making the pieces in between. So I did buy some aftermarket parts, but I have not cut up a perfectly restorable car, restorable by Canadian standards, to do this project. Some people have asked why I'm doing this, because I want to. Seems good. Some guy even asked me if told me that I should give this car away and buy a two-door. Well, I paid for this car, and I paid a lot for it because 55s are hard to find in any condition. So I paid what I think is a lot for it. And I'm going to sink a lot of money and a lot of time into this car. And why would I take Grandpa's perfectly good 55 that is in really nice mint original shape and cut it all up to make a custom car? No, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a four-door that probably no one was going to give a whole bunch of time to, and I'm going to do it the way that I want. So you can check out one of my other earlier videos was why I shouldn't restore my 55 and why I should do this instead. Uh, so I'll get into this rocker build and I'll show you what's going on there. I am no expert. I'm no Jesse James. But hey, I'm having some fun. I hope you guys are too. Enjoy the video and yeah. So taking this 16 gauge, cut it at 1 foot. I've got this section of an old rocker panel, the correct old rocker panel for a 55 that has all the contours. What I'm going to make is this face, and this here. This piece here I'm going to make after I have the floor in place. So I'm just going to make this lip. That's what I did on the driver's side. So what I do to get this shape is I take duct tape and I put duct tape on this and I'll mark where the bends are. So then I can see the actual contour of the shape. Gives me an accurate length. Do it with masking tape, whatever kind of tape. So I want to bend here. I want one right in the center of this radius here. I want one in the center of this radius here. And then I'm probably not going to get that far with it because I'm going to cut it off here. So that's where the last one is. And this is the top. So you can see I've just marked. You can see how the tape contours, and that way I can do a clear transfer. So the other thing I'm going to do is just give a little line here. So now I can pull this off here. I know this is my starting line. I'm going to give it a little bit. Actually, I'm going to measure because I want some extra. You can always trim it off at the bottom. So I'm going to measure an extra ½ an inch. That's where I want it to start. So now I can lay this out like that. This is the end. That's a bend. That's a bend. And that's a bend. Now I can go down to the other end. Do the same thing. It's bend, 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 end. Just triple check here. What I've done before is I've had it not correct from one side to the other and bent it on an angle, and that's not a big waste of steel. So that's the same side to side. I'll do one in the middle. I'm only lining up the ends on the brake anyways, but if I do it in the middle, then I can really make sure it's all within my line of sight and I'm not going to screw anything up. You can see everything's pretty close to the same, only I have to dip this down to match this contour, which I'll do on the wheel. You can see it's very much the same. I played with my brake a bunch to get it so it was the right radius. 16 gauge cold rolled is about the limit for my brake. As you saw, it's about all it can do. It's more of a like a 20 gauge sheet metal brake, even though it says 16 gauge. But you can see I just need to make this curve here in the center. I'm going to do that with the English wheel. That'll get me close. Now you can see I've selected the anvil, the wheel. That's close enough to the radius. And what I'm going to do is I'll put this sits in here. And then I'll push this through like this, and I'll pull down on these edges. Now it's going to take these at a square, but it's also going to put the radius in here that I want. I can get these back to square anytime. The big thing is trying to get this crown in the rocker panel, and it's 16 gauge. As I said, it's a little difficult to work with, but it's what you want in a rocker panel. Okay, so I've got it rolled out. Checked it with the profile gauge. I've checked it on the driver's head rocker that I already made. I have to kick this up a little bit on this one side, but I'll shape that in when it's in the car. But you can see, got my curve, at least on the ends, and the rough shape. So that's close enough that I'll probably put it in the car. You can see, hopefully, that I've got my curve wheeled into it. There's a couple of little pocks, like little dings from when I had it in the wheel and I cranked down on it just to get a little bit of shape on it. I've rolled most of them out. The rest will come out with sanding and add a little filler. So this is, I guess, the finished product. I'm no wheeler, but it looks kind of like a rocker panel. I'll show you the one that I installed on the 55 before. You can see it's got the curve that matches the quarter panel. You know, I still have hammer and dolly work to do there and filler work and whatnot, but you can see where it's installed and everything's good. I'm gonna have to play with door gaps on the bottom and all that good stuff, but that's at a later date. You can see what I was talking about. So how this goes is when I do the one-piece floor, it comes with an inner rocker, and the inner rocker will sit on this edge, and then this will butt up against it and it will spot weld to it. And then wherever that floor stops, the new floor pan, the one-piece floor pan, I'll stitch it into this. I'll put a cap over it, and then the door sill goes over this. As you can see, the floor is in dire need of replacement. But you can see that, you know, this is an aftermarket panel here, and you can see the curvature's pretty close. It's close enough that it's going to be able to get filled in and worked in. And then, as you can see, this one here, like, I've got to hammer it down a little bit too, which will give me my door gap that I'm looking for when I start hammering this guy flat, which is the same thing I'm going to have to do with the one I just made for the passenger side. But obviously, I have other things to do on the passenger side. I have to continue making it a two-door. So I know you've been looking for an update on the 55 for quite a while. I hope this satisfies that. I know it's not a whole lot of progress, but hey, it's something. I've been collecting parts for it, but my priorities have been the low-hanging fruit, the cars that are closer to running. The Malibu is getting close to done. The 64 Coupe is coming in here, I guess, next week, and I'm going to get it up on the lift and start swapping the suspension over on it and getting it ready to go. I'll tell you guys about that in another video. I hope you enjoyed this little show. And thanks for watching. And keep it positive, stay safe, and enjoy the holidays.